I welcome you back to Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hoax. So, this is the support conversation edition for Chapter 5. As you can see, I do have a lot of support conversations, which is why I decided to make it its own video. As you can see these times here. The next part after this one will be the main quest for Chapter 5. So I hope you enjoy these support conversations, as there will be more to come in the future.
Hey, just the guy I wanted to see. I've got a bit of a favor to ask. You know that special sword you fight with? Well, I was wondering if you'd let me take a peek at it.
Show him.
Sure, if you want. Can't say I expected this kind of interest coming from you, though. It'd be one thing if it were Dimitri or Felix asking. You know how they get about weapons. But you?
You do remember I'm the heir to House Gautier, don't you? I've been studying the art of combat ever since I was just a kid.
Well, you always skip out on training, so... Anyway, here. This work?
It sure does. What a weird sword. You know what it's made of? It doesn't look like iron or steel to me.
I have never seen the sword.
I couldn't tell you. Honestly, I have no idea.
What about how you can make it appear right out of thin air? Is that some sort of magic?
Nah, not exactly. It kinda just comes to me when I call it.
Well, that's vague. One more question then. Would I be able to use your sword if I wanted to?
Doubt it. The thing vanishes the second I let go of it. But, hey, why do you want to know so much about it anyway?
I guess I was just thinking how nice it'd be if there were more weapons like yours out in the world. You know, a hero's relic can take down hundreds or even thousands of soldiers in a single swing. Depending on who's doing the swinging, of course. But as soon as the wielder dies, that's it. If you don't have a crest, it's nothing more than a fancy-looking hunk of whatever they're made of. Of course, that wouldn't be an issue if everyone could just use a sword like yours.
Maybe so, but that doesn't make it possible. I mean, there's still so much even I don't know about it.
Right. It's not like you can just make a second one or something.
That's actually a pretty interesting idea. You've given this a lot of thought, haven't you?
Hey, you're talking to the future Margrave Gautier here, remember? Of course I'd think about this kind of stuff. After all, us nobles wouldn't have nearly as much work to do if everyone could fight with the relics. And then I could spend all my time goofing off, just like I did back at the academy.
Yeah, in your dreams. Don't make me tell Ingrid about this.
Whoa now, you don't need to do that. Have a heart. Come on, let's see that sword of yours a little more.
I don't think if that Flugel class, or however you say the class name, if it's only exclusive to Shez, and that's why he has that other sword. Because I didn't know he had a special sword.
Another beautiful day. Perfect weather to get a bit of training in.
There you are. I've been looking all over for you.
What is this music?
Hey, Annette. Not used to seeing anyone else up and about this early. What's up?
Oh, this is awful. Just the worst.
This doesn't have anything to do with me, does it?
It absolutely does. You sang my song in front of the other mercenaries.
Your song? Oh, you mean the one about the horse that had a human face?
No! I mean, yes, but that's not what it's about at all.
Really? I could have sworn the lyrics said something about the guy's body being 80% horse. I liked it so much I couldn't stop humming it to myself, and then I had to teach it to the other mercs when they overheard me.
Which explains why I heard it in all corners of the camp. It really caught me off guard. I haven't sung it for anyone else yet. Only you.
Sorry, should I have kept it to myself? I thought it was a great little tune, honest.
I'm glad you liked it that much, but I hadn't even finished writing the lyrics yet. I don't mind my songs getting around once I'm happy with how they turned out. But it's super embarrassing when people hear one before I've finished writing it.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. It's no fun when people see or hear something when you're not ready to show it off. I mean, I'm the same way. I can't stand it when other people watch me practice my sword work. Though, I can't really avoid it if I want to get any real training in.
Exactly. But my song's out in the wild now, and there's no putting that cat back in the box. I guess I'll just have to wait till everyone forgets it.
Hey, I'm really sorry about all this. I could tell everyone to pretend like they never heard it, if you think that would help.
No, absolutely not. That'll just make them all suspicious.
In that case, why don't you just finish the song? Then you can sing the final version for everyone, and they'll forget about the old one in no time. You might not be happy with it right now, but it's clearly catchy if all those people are loving it.
You have a point there. I guess I just need to finish up the lyrics then.
That's the spirit, though I do really like the whole 80% horse part.
Everybody in the camp got a demo of Annette's new mixtape. $10, please.
Well, if it isn't our mercenary friend, I trust you've adjusted to life in the kingdom by now.
Yeah, more or less. I've been here a few times before on the job, so it's not too big a shock. But I've never lived as far north as Ferdiad. There's still a bunch I need to get used to. Stuff like the wind blowing straight through you, or how it's always so stupidly cold, even inside, or how you can't go out after a blizzard. It snowed so much one night that I couldn't even open the door in the morning. Thought I was off to meet the goddess that day.
An amusing enough story when you tell it like that. But Fargus winters are no joke. They're harsh, unforgiving beasts. Tell me, have you grown to despise the cold?
Oh, it's miserable. Bet I'm not the only person who thinks that way either, seeing how much it snows. I honestly used to think it was some kind of beautiful magic when I was a kid, but I realize now just how rough this stuff can be.
To be frank, I'm not fond of the snow myself. Not to mention the countless lives we've lost to the bitter chill of winter. Nevertheless, this brutal tundra is the only home we have. Meaning there's nothing to do but adapt, persevere, and enjoy the lives we've built here.
Adapt? Like how the messengers ride Pegasi instead of horses during the winter.
Exactly. The sight of those majestic creatures soaring through the frost-ridden sky is one unique to Fargus. No matter how much snow blankets the ground, our Pegasi quite literally rise to the occasion. When my son and His Majesty were still just boys, they followed one off into the frigid mountains of all places. By the time I found them, they were but two shivering masses on the ground. For a moment, I thought my heart would never beat again.
So, Felix has been getting into trouble ever since he was a kid, huh?
His penchant for danger is unchanged, yes. Though I fear his disposition has grown far sharper. The hardships of becoming Duke at his age are undoubtedly weighing upon his mind.
I don't know. I don't think you need to worry about him. He can take care of himself just fine.
A fair point. Perhaps it's time I let him spread his wings like the Pegasus he chased all those years ago. It seems the coming winter will bring more than just cold to Fargus. The ravages of war approach on the same wind. Training in such conditions will be a struggle indeed, but we cannot afford to ignore the looming Srang threat either. Managing our territories through it all will not be an easy task. But I have faith we will adapt, persevere, and overcome. Just as we always have.
Next winter, huh? We'll just have to do whatever it takes to make sure the war's over by then.
Ah, I wanted to speak with you. You have made quite the name for yourself recently.
Oh, thanks.
A true feat for one so young. It is a shame you could not continue your studies at the academy. If only you had been graced with the opportunity to cultivate your knowledge and gain more experience alongside your classmates. It is likely you would have become influential enough to impact Fodlan's very future. You have grown silent. Is something on your mind?
What do you all think of me, honestly? We've fought enough battles together. You know I've got this mysterious power. You and Rhea, you're suspicious of me, aren't you?
Yes, I admit you are right. We have yet to determine if you are truly trustworthy. The power you possess is different from that of a crest. That alone is cause for suspicion, if I may be so blunt. You might not bear us any ill will, but what if you were to succumb to the manipulations of someone like Tomas?
That doesn't sound very likely. Although I guess it's possible I could accidentally hurt someone with it.
Precisely. And furthermore, the victim of said accident could be the Archbishop, or my sister, Flayn. We must remain vigilant to even the slightest possibility of danger. I know the Empire often accuses the Church of exploiting the people to fill our coffers. But the fact remains that the Archbishop has always gone to great lengths to maintain peace in Fodlan. She also serves as the spiritual guide for the vast majority of citizens here. We simply cannot risk losing her, even if it is only a 1 in a million chance.
Well, okay. If that's the case, what do you want me to do about it? I can't just leave. That would be a huge problem for Dimitri and everyone else.
I have no intention of telling you to go. I am well aware of how much the king values you. However, I would ask that you keep your distance from the Archbishop. And to stay away from Flayn as well. This could prove difficult given you two serve in the Kingdom Army together, but it is a personal request. I know this all may be unpleasant for you, but will you agree to do so?
Make no promises.
I get where you're coming from, but I can't promise anything. I'll try to be careful, though.
You have my thanks.
It's all right, really. I'm not sure what this power is myself. I mean, it's my body and all, but I really have no idea what it's gonna do next.
In time, I hope you discover the true nature of your power. If there is anything I can do to assist you with the matter, do not hesitate to ask.
Will do. Thanks.
That one was pretty interesting.
That should be everything in its place now.
And high time we took a break, if you ask me. Lugging all those boxes was hard work. Hey, why don't you join me for a meal? Might be nice to head into town for once.
I'm not that hungry just yet, though. Oh, I've got it. If you'd like, we could have a tea party. I have a cache of delicious treats we can eat as well.
Sure, I guess I could go for some tea. Where'd that idea come from, though?
Only from all the expeditions.
Well, I received some sugar recently as a gift from one of the soldiers I mended back to health. I used it to bake the most wonderful confections, I'd love for you to try them.
Huh, that does sound good. And a little something sweet once in a while never hurt anyone.
Then we're settled. Give me just a moment, I'll get everything ready.
Whoa, these are incredible. I've never had anything quite like them before.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm particularly happy with how those turned out.
It does actually taste kind of familiar, though. Almost like this snack my mom used to make.
Really? You don't say.
Yeah, I was raised in this little village off in the mountains, absolutely surrounded by nature. Sometimes Mom would go out and gather fruit from the trees, then bake things with them.
There's nothing better than a dessert made with fresh fruit. I love them myself. You can knead them into dough and bake them, or preserve them in honey so they can be enjoyed the whole year round.
My mom's stuff was never quite as fancy as the things you make, but they were special in their own way. And even though we didn't have them too often, just one hint of that flavor and it's like I'm a kid again. Guess they were just that good.
It's wonderful you have that memory to look back on. I can tell the time you spent with your mother was very precious to you.
For sure. Though I don't remember it too well anymore.
Can I ask you something? Do you ever wish you could return to the past? To those days with your mother?
Nice thought.
It would be great to go back if I could, yeah. We'd have so much more to talk about now that I'm older. But the past is the past. My mom is gone, and there's nothing I can do to change that.
Yes. Yes, I suppose you're right.
Hey, what's wrong? Was it something I said?
Oh, my apologies. I must have been daydreaming for a moment there. Here, try this one next. I made it specially to pair with the tea.
Sure. Thanks.
What a warm family moment.
What were you thinking? Sticking your nose into some soldier's fight? You have a lot of growing up to do if you're still throwing yourself in the middle of random brawls like that. Keep this up, and House Fraldarius' reputation will be rolling in the mud with you. Not to mention how it reflects poorly on His Majesty, considering he's the one who made you a duke.
I know all that.
Do you? Because you don't look like a man who's achieved some fantastic new enlightenment.
This is rich coming from you. I liked it better when you used to take the heat.
Are you kidding? You were always the one being scolded when we were kids.
Only because you were a half-wit who kept dragging me into your ludicrous schemes.
Was that how it was? Now, whatever you say. But tell me, what's got you swinging your fists around this time?
Nothing specific. I just couldn't back down after getting involved.
You really need to start being more careful. Look, you've even got a bruise going. Who knows what would happen to Fargus if we lost you?
I won't say you'd be fine without me, but you do know I could fall in battle any day now, right?
Bite your tongue, Felix. Just think for 2 seconds. What would happen to Fargus? And to His Majesty if you died? He's got too much on his plate already. Yet he insists on doing everything himself. War with the Empire, battles outside Fodlan, governing the kingdom, reforming the entire social structure of pretty much everything. If he didn't have you at his side, he'd fall flat on his face.
You speak as though you have no stake in this whatsoever. We're in the same situation. One of these days, you'll inherit the title of Margrave Gautier. Are you ready for that?
I know. Trust me, I am very well aware. Which is why I always act with the utmost integrity.
You're the complete opposite of integrity. Though I suppose you have been attempting to shake some of your old habits recently.
You know, it wouldn't kill you to pat me on the back every once in a while.
You're like a baby that just learned to walk. A pat on the back would only knock you over. You can try to make up for your past actions all you want, but that kind of thing isn't easily swept aside. The sooner you realize that, the better.
That tongue of yours is sharp as ever, I see. Never change, Felix.
I guess I was a touch reckless this time. As much as I hate to admit it. So I'll give you that much.
That's pretty different. Sylvain scolding Felix like that. It's usually the other way around.
Mercedes, good. I need your help.
Felix? Why do you have a cat?
Picked it up?
Yes, I can see that, but... Oh no! Its little leg is hurt! Here, let me have it. I may be able to heal it with magic. There. It should be fine now.
Thanks. Sorry for the trouble.
Oh, it's no trouble at all. Though I must admit, you're the last person I expected to bring me an injured kitten. It reminds me of how my little brother once took in a cat when we were young.
Hey, that's right. You have a brother from a different father, right?
Yes. This was a long time ago, when we both still lived with House Bartels. My brother took in an injured cat, and after it healed, it began living in the mansion. We did our best to feed it secretly so it wouldn't be discovered.
Secretly? What's the big deal with one little furball?
We couldn't let anyone find out, no matter what. The people in that house were horrid. Had they learned of the cat, they would have put it in a sack and tossed it in the river.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Eventually, my mother and I left House Bartels and never looked back, though we left my brother behind. Still, I've always wondered what happened to that poor little cat.
Animals are smart enough. If the thing felt threatened, it would have taken off.
I suppose you're right.
Anyway, now that you've fixed the cat, I should bring it back to where I found it.
Are you sure? It's clearly taken a shine to you.
Yeah, but I can't keep it. The thing's practically a kitten. What if it has parents that, I don't know, miss it?
Yes, I suppose returning it would be best.
All right, go. Shoo! Come on, get out of here already. Stop rubbing my legs. What is it? You want food? Well, I don't have any.
Ah, that cat really likes him. Animals clearly understand when a kind soul comes to their aid.
Mercedes, do something. This cat won't stop following me.
I'm sorry, but there isn't anything I can do. You'll have to wait until it feels like going home. Goodness, really? Having a cat like you is a good thing.
I'm not sure it is.
Well, so long as you're stuck waiting, we may as well get comfortable and have a nice chat.
Just a big old softie that has a cat. He's a cat person now.
My apologies, Felix. Am I getting in the way of your work?
No, I just finished up. What do you need?
I picked this up on the training grounds. I think it might be yours.
Hey, That's my brother's spur. I thought I'd lost it.
I ran around asking all the knights who it belonged to. The royal crest made it seem important. You really should take better care of it. Didn't Glenn receive this as a gift from the late king?
Yup.
Don't shrug me off like that. I am surprised. You never struck me as the type to keep such a memento with you.
Guess I thought it might come in handy someday.
Whatever you say. Just make sure you don't misplace it again.
Ingrid. Wait.
Yes?
You should have it.
Excuse me? Absolutely not. I could never accept something so precious.
When my brother was appointed by the king, who do you think he told first? It wasn't me or my father. It was you. So take it.
But I...
If you want the truth, I always planned to give it to you anyway. I just never found the right time.
Well, if you insist, then I accept. Thank you, Felix.
But don't get the wrong idea. I'm not doing this so you can go drown yourself in grief.
Oh, I am very much aware. I know full well how much you detest such displays of sentimentality. I should get going. I have a meeting to attend. Farewell, Felix.
Hey.
What kind of greeting is that? I gave you my title, not free license for insolence.
Spare me the lecture. I have a question about the lords of Southern Fraldaria's territory.
So you're having trouble with them as well, are you? Let me guess. They're withholding provisions. Or perhaps they refuse to send troops they promised.
How did you know?
Because I've been through the same thing with them any number of times.
Southern soldiers are unskilled, but they make up for it with sheer numbers. I need their cooperation, yet they refuse to negotiate, and I have no idea how to convince them.
Yes. I imagine they're dealing with their own issues.
And what issues would those be?
When they refused to send reinforcements for the invasion of Sreng, it was because the lords were embroiled in a succession dispute. If one house sent soldiers, the others would pounce on the opportunity to move against them. But mere letters could never have told you something like that.
So you went around to each territory personally?
Yes. Though considering we're presently on war footing, doing so now would be unwise.
Well, that's hardly helpful, but I'll take it into consideration and see what I can do. Something funny?
Just thinking that you've grown into a fine duke.
Were you expecting me to fail? You're the one who gave me the title, after all.
True. But I inherited the role when I was much older than you. You're doing extremely well for your age. It seems I raised two very capable sons.
Don't tell me you're glorifying Glenn's death again.
Felix.
I've been walking in your footsteps, serving our king and leading an army of knights. After all that, I thought maybe I'd come to understand you a bit better. But I still can't stomach what you said that day.
Looks like I overstepped yet again. Perhaps the two of us will never see eye to eye. If Glenn were alive, I half suspect he'd say I was being childish.
And that's their relationship in a nutshell. And so that'll be it for the support conversation part. As I said before, the next time will be the main quest for Chapter 5. So until then, I'll be seeing you.